Hey folks, how are ya? We're back. So for today's video, I'm not going to do a book review. That's coming up soon. I know my book reviews that I've been doing have been sweeping the nation, if not the globe. I'm a kind of a global icon at this point, but so I'm gonna keep doing a few more in the future. Stay tuned. But today I wanted to talk to you about something else you might have heard of. It's called the internet. And I don't know if you noticed, but the internet is a nightmarish hellscape that is basically destroying the fabric of human life as we know it. Now you're saying, boy, that is coming on a little strong. Is that a little hyperbolic? And the answer is yes. And the reason is I want to engage you. I want you to keep watching. I want you to not click away. So I got to come in hot with a hot take, and that's how I'm starting this video. But yeah, you're saying to yourself, so you just discovered that the internet is like pretty weird and screwed up. No, I didn't just discover it. Okay, we all know this, but there's a few things that recently I didn't consciously think about it as much, admittedly, and now I'm seeing it, and now I'm seeing it everywhere, and I'm like, wow, it's even more fake and ridiculous than maybe I even imagined. So I think with the internet, most of the people of us on social media is like just people who just go to social media, and people go and maybe engage on social media to varying degrees, but most people have at least some contact, even if it's just thanking people for wishing them a happy birthday on Facebook once a year, but ranging to people who literally live their life online. But you have to think about the internet as there's another segment of people which are content creators. These are people who basically get ads to their page, and particularly on like Instagram or TikTok or YouTube, and they get paid to post things essentially through ads. The content creators, and there is now a phrase I discovered that's even called the creator economy, because it's become a fairly big economy. In America, there is 27 million people who are paid, have ad-supported pages. 11 million do it full time. And a lot of those 11 million, some of them have gotten like filthy rich, multimillionaires, just from posting. In some cases, doing videos where they basically post about, here's what I ate today. I found a video, there's a girl on, I guess she's on Instagram and TikTok, she's like a millennial or a Gen Zer, and she buys food and eats it. And that's it. That's the video. It's about a minute long each day. Here's what I ate today. And it's always like Domino's and Wingstop and all this crazy stuff. I'm like, this is the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life. She has 1.5 million subscribers. This is probably her full-time job. And like, how could people watch someone else eating? But then I'm thinking, I'm overanalyzing the situation. She's a young, attractive, thin girl. And so this idea, and she's always eating junk food. And it's like maybe the appeal is it sells this notion like to young girls who are always worried about what they're eating. That it's a fantasy thing. This girl's fit, she's in shape, she's pretty, but she's eating KFC all the time. Now I don't think she's eating KFC all the time. She's probably taking a few bites for the purpose of these videos, and that might be it. And then the rest of the time she's eating salads. Just guessing. But I mean. But anyway, I'm getting sidetracked already. But anyway, so this is a whole big industry. And the whole point is these people are making their living getting you to watch videos, getting you to like videos, getting you to share videos, and getting you, and here's where it really gets screwed up, to comment on videos. Engagement. And as we know, engagement, no one cares if you say this sucks or this is amazing. It counts the same. It's like, the point is you commented. And it creates this perverse sense of incentives. It's kind of like in school. Like, imagine a situation where it was sometimes you don't even get a grade at all from your teacher, and so the whole point is just to get a grade. Whether you get an A or an F is irrelevant, but the point is you got a grade. It kind of seems roughly the equivalent of that, this rule of engagement thing. And so what you realize is there's all these little tricks that people play, and people fall for it, hook, line, and sinker. And I sometimes am one of them. And what they're doing is they're exploiting people's assumption that someone's dumb, so I might need to correct them, or all these other things. So here's a few examples of videos I've seen recently. I saw a Facebook video the other day. It was from some baseball page, and they talked about Pedro Martinez's 2000 season with the Red Sox, and he had historic numbers. He had an ERA under 2, batting average against, so I think it was like the best since World War I or something like that. And they give you all this deep dive into the statistics that he had that year. And they post a picture of Pedro, naturally. He's wearing a Montreal Expos uniform. Pedro pitched in the mid-90s for the Expos. He won his first Cy Young Award his last season in Montreal in '97, and then he got traded to the Red Sox because the Expos couldn't afford it. They knew they weren't going to be able to afford a salary. And so, but by 2000, he was in his 3rd year with the Red Sox. Now, it's really interesting. So they post the picture of him in an Expos uniform, and guess what happens? Comments all over the place. Pedro wasn't playing for the Expos in 2000. He was with the Red Sox. So the question then becomes, did the person who posted this make a mistake? But here's the thing. They do a deep dive into a whole thing about all of his stats or whatever. How would you know all those things and not notice that he played for the Red Sox that year? Maybe it was a mistake. And if you're looking for a picture of him, most likely the first pictures are going to come up with the Red Sox because he was more famous for pitching for the Red Sox. So it seems plausible that it was an honest mistake, and they posted a picture of him in an Expos uniform. It's also quite possible they did it on purpose. They did it on purpose because they knew people would comment and correct them, and that way this post got a lot of engagement, a lot of comments. If they post him with a Red Sox uniform, maybe a few people say, yeah, incredible, man. Even during the steroid era, Pedro was the man. But that's it. I'll give you another one. So I saw this video come up on Instagram the other day. It was some guitar tutorial, and it was about the Yes's Roundabout. And it said the way they came up with this song was the band supposedly was traveling through Scotland on tour, and there's a bunch of roundabouts. And the guy says, he's American, he's got an American accent, he says, here in America, we call those traffic circles. Guess what happened? All kinds of comments. I live in Massachusetts, we call them roundabouts. I live in California, we call them roundabouts. I live in Texas, we call them roundabouts. And then it spun off into a whole discussion on what do you call roundabouts. Amazing engagement. And it's plausible that this guy said, maybe he lives in Des Moines, Iowa, and maybe in Des Moines they call them traffic circles, and he was unaware that in other parts of the country they do call them roundabouts. That's plausible. But I don't think so. I think, and he didn't even qualify and say, well, some parts of the country they call it traffic circles, and other parts they call it roundabouts. No, definitive statement. We call them traffic circles here in the United States. Again, was this a mistake, or was it deliberately an inaccuracy, knowing he'd get corrected and get a lot of comments and engagement? I don't know. I'm suspicious. And then I saw another one just today. Keith Richards' Instagram page. Now, you wouldn't think people running Keith Richards' page would care about this. I mean, what does Keith have to gain? But then again, maybe the person running the page still has something to gain in their career. Maybe they're trying to move up, and they want to be able to tell how much engagement they got from Keith Richards' page when they were running it. They show a picture of Keith playing. He's playing a new Stone song. I forgot the name of it. He's playing a Gibson ES335. It looked like Cherry 335. Not that it matters. And it says Keith Richards 2003. Now, it's a song off their new album that just came out a couple months ago from a show that I think was probably like last night, because the Stones are currently on tour. And you're posting it from a tour. Now, if the show was from last year, you would say, maybe it was 2023 and that was just a typo. But it was 2024. How do you get 2003 unless you're like doing a lot of shrooms or something when you're running Keith Richards' Instagram page? Maybe that's, again, plausible. But I don't know. I don't know how you do 2003 there. Unless, guess what happened? tons of comments corrected. That was not 2003 SMH. That was 2024. Again, tricks, I think. Another way people get you to engage is not necessarily through tricks. It's they'll do another thing they'll do. This is not as devious, but with music kind of stuff, a guitar player will play something like, they'll say, name that tune. They could just say, hey, this is this solo from Pink Floyd's Time, because that's what this was. I saw this today. Said, name that tune. Now, this is shooting fish in a barrel, because anyone who knows anything about Pink Floyd or any classic rock at all, this is a very famous song from one of the most famous albums of all time. Everyone's gonna. He played the whole entire solo. It wasn't just a couple notes. So everyone's gonna know it. So everyone's going to answer. And the other thing, too, is you think, well, only one person's going to answer. You're only going to get one comment, one engagement. Oh, no, that's not how it works. Everyone wants so badly to show how much they know the answer. They don't read the comments. They post it themselves. Deep down, they probably know about 60 people have already given the answer, but you don't read those. You pretend you don't know that because you want to show, I know the answer to this. Look how smart I am. And they know that, too. And anyway, so another thing that people do, I saw a guy, he posted this thing on, he's like, bro, people have been brainwashed into thinking America. I live in Vegas, but I bought a place in Cancun. And the quality of life in Mexico, it's so much cheaper. My place is nicer. The quality of life is just so much nicer to live in Mexico. We've been brainwashed. Brainwashed, a good word to also trigger a lot of engagement and reaction. Now, there's a lot of flaws, it would seem, in that statement. I'm not an expert on Mexico, but I think Cancun is in no way representative of most of the country and the quality of life in most of Mexico. Someone else also pointed out that you're using American dollars, not pesos, and that elevates your spending power in Mexico. So it's all ridiculous to say that somehow it's better to live in Mexico overall than America. Again, did he not consider those factors? Or did he know, if I make this really hot take statement, I'm going to get a lot of engagement? I don't know. I saw another one with a girl. I spend too much time online, if you haven't noticed. I saw another one with a girl. She's like, I had a date with this guy, and he stood me up. He told me he has to help his friend move. And she's like, what kind of guy wouldn't want to go out with a cute girl instead? Cute girl, again, very clever. So she's basically coming across as a kind of stuck-up, entitled, spoiled girl. Guess what happens? Millions of dudes comment and say, well, he dodged a bullet. And like, man, bros before hoes. I don't think they said that, but they might have. They probably did somewhere. But he's a loyal friend. You should see that as a good thing. And oh, cute. Oh, someone thinks a lot of themselves. But I don't know if this video was real. I think the video might have also been manipulation, knowing this is exactly the kind of video that's going to get a lot of engagement. Maybe this girl really is that way, but I think it was fake. And this just happens over and over and over again, and it's just we're all being manipulated and played for suckers. And it's really, really sad. It's to the point where so much of the internet is fake that people don't think that people, that maybe things that are real are even real. I stumbled across this video, one of the great moments in sports journalism history, in 1994. So the internet was really not, it was starting to come into existence, but it was nowhere near, kids, if you weren't around then, nowhere near what it is now. And there was a famous video with Jim Everett, who was the quarterback of the LA Rams. And Jim Rome, the sports host, who was always a very combative, kind of basically a troll, and he's still around. And he took to call him Chris Everett. Of course, Chris Everett was a female tennis player. Again, talk about feeling old. Some people in the comments were like, who's Chris Everett? Okay, all right. Anyway, so Jim Everett said, he goes on a show, and Jim Rome calls him Chris a couple times. He says, you've been calling me that. If you call me that one more time, we're going to have to do a station break. So we call him Chris again. So Jim Everett flips the table and basically shoves him to the ground, and then some security people take him away. All the comments were like, this was fake, this was staged. And I'm like, that I don't think was staged. First of all, not that there weren't fake things before the internet. I mean, there was professional wrestling, for God's sake. There's a million fake things. It's not like the internet invented this. But you didn't have as much incentive if you were Jim Rome or if you were Jim Everett, because you were already at the table. If you're a starting quarterback in the NFL, you've already made it. What's the incentive to fake something like this? What do you get out of it, really? And Jim Rome, too, already had a show on ESPN, so he had already gotten past whatever the gatekeepers were. To stage something like this, I think it was absolutely real. But people look at real things and they think they're fake, and then they still look at fake things and they think they're real. There's so much fakery on the internet, and we're just getting into AI, that people no longer know what's real and what's fake. But now what's happened, I think, is that the gatekeepers aren't there. Anybody can post anything. Anyone can create a page and theoretically get millions of followers and get filthy rich and famous. And there's no one blocking you. There's no agent. There's no whatever. The gatekeepers are gone. The problem is everyone else is trying to do the same thing. And so you have to shove your way to the front of the line, and the only way to do it is to just do these tricks. I mean, I think there's literally classes or online tutorials that teach people how to get engagement, what tricks you play, and it's all psychological manipulation. It's like we're all Pavlov dogs, here's the meat, and you're gonna fall for it. And it's a very sad state of affairs. I think civilization is crumbling before our eyes, and there's nothing we can do about it. And on that upbeat message, we're 14 minutes into this. So all I can say, folks, do yourself a favor. Realize it's all a game. It's all a con. They're all con artists. They're all just trying to trick you to comment. And another example of people still not getting it, how all this works. I saw the other day on Facebook a Taylor Swift post, and it said something like, Taylor Swift has manipulated the algorithm so that there's news on her tour constantly, and we never get away from her. Well, yeah, duh. But then this guy commented. He says, that's why I can't seem to get rid of her news stories on my feed. And I said, well, that and the fact that you commented. Because again, if you comment, they see engagement. They don't care if you like Taylor Swift or hate her. They only care if you comment on her stories, and if you comment on her stories, they're just going to keep showing you and showing you and showing you. So again, we're well into this game, but all of us are still falling for it. We're still being suckers. And what they're doing is manipulating a human nature thing, which is we love to correct people. We love to think that, for example, someone is so lazy and dumb that they didn't know Pedro Martinez was pitching for the Red Sox in 2000. And there are dumb people. There are lazy people, but they may not always be as dumb and lazy as you think they are. They're not being lazy and stupid. They're just tricking you into thinking that way. They're playing dumb, or they're playing, the spoiled girl to trap you into commenting and telling them and correcting them on how spoiled they are. It plays on stereotypes. The stereotype of the spoiled, young, attractive girl who's stuck up, and people can't wait to put that girl in her place. And so these little tricks just manipulate these tendencies that we all have to tell people they're wrong and why they're wrong and why we're right. So in some ways, people who fall for this, you could say they deserve what they get because they're just too quick to always just be an expert and tell people they're stupid. Anyway, I'm not sure how to wrap this up. The internet, it sucks. Blow up your devices. Get offline. Get off the grid. I'm gonna go live in an underground bunker. I'm gonna unplug. Actually, no, I'm not. I'll see you on Instagram anytime. Until next time. Next time we're gonna, I think, do a little book review. Thomas Pynchon's Vineland, 1990. Never mind. I could say something about Pynchon and what his predictions about the computer age and the internet in 1984, but we'll probably save that for the end of the video. So, man, is there something to look forward to. Bye.